Hey everybody, I am doing an update again today because of the earthquakes. We've had some pretty intense global ones today. I already did a video of a screenshot video of my phone earthquake tracker because it is what gave me the up to minute updates. So I will go ahead and play that for you, and then we will add some other like a map so that you can see. All right, here is my first screen capture. I have a program on my phone, earthquake tracker, that gives me updates on the earthquakes. So here we go. Just going to go ahead and give you an update on what's going on with the earthquakes. We've had quite a few major earthquakes. We've had some in the greater Los Angeles area, but
magnitude alert. 7 new events.
The main one I'm talking about right now is the one that recently happened in Japan. And that was if you can see, it keeps updating, I'm sorry, I gotta scroll down again. If you can see, that was a 7.0 in Japan. It was upgraded to a 7.1. And we've had several after that. You see the 5.8, the 5.7. We've had many aftershocks, more 5s. Vanuatu has also been going off with 5s. Just had a 4.7? 4 and more 5s again. And so there are things occurring right now that are pretty intense. And I'm going to go ahead and show you another view. There's the Japan up here. You can see the magnitude. That was at 9:25 a.m. 7 hours ago for me. It is currently 4:36. It's actually a little bit later now. Guatemala, 5.7s, a couple 5.7s. So we are having things occur. And I'll go ahead and right now. Video to another video showing some more earthquakes today on a map. Okay, so that's where we are now. A little bit better. But thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause. Oops. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this so we can see the full map here and get a good look at where all these are. Forgive me, I'm looking through my camera screen. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is Keshe, the Keshe Foundation. He is an Iranian scientist who has been working with several other scientists paying attention to what's going on around the globe. He also understands cold fusion technology, which he's doing his best to release to the world. And I know there are skeptics out there. That's great. Enjoy your skepticism. I personally know and use 0-point energy so I know that it's real. Whether they have understood how to harness it or not, that's between them and God, and we'll see what happens. But basically what Keshe has been saying, and this is another reason why I'm more apt to to go with what he's saying and to believe him and to concur. I've been watching the sun and the earth for a while now, and yes, there has been an uptick. And one of the things that Keshe said was there were two major events that have happened around this February or March, which happen every single time we have a huge global earth shift, and this is found in the ice cores, and we have millions of years of ice cores which to look back on this with. And I do believe he doesn't say specifically what these are because the governments are trying to hide it, and it is a very serious issue, and they will attack people, especially people who are on a global scale, who talk to people who are known globally. So if you look right here in between North America and South America, you can see that we've recently had a 6.1 in Guatemala. And what Keshe was talking about was that these two events, one of which I believe is the spewing methane coming out of California around this ring of fire area right here. We have some spewing methane right here, and you can see, look at all these earthquakes building up right here. Yes, California normally gets earthquakes, and I live in California. I live 7,000 feet up in the mountains of in the Southern California mountains, so I don't usually feel much earthquakes because the granite mountain pretty much, buffers that for me. But there are a whole bunch. I mean, that's a pretty decent amount. It doesn't normally go way up into here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, but I just want you to So look at this. Look at this thin piece of land touching right here. One of the things that Keshe was saying was that when the Earth expands, because Earth grows, that's one of the things that they don't want people to know, is that Earth expands, because then they like to admit that the plasma core in the middle is producing matter. When things are moving at a higher vibration, when they speed up, they need more space to move. And so that is Earth growing. If you look at Pangea back in the day, the story they tell you about Pangea being on one side of the Earth, that would not work. You'd have a crazy wobbling Earth that would not it would not be stable at all. What happened is the Earth has grown, and that's why you see the separations in the oceans. So what's happening here is that there is a very intense amount of pressure that's going to be building up right at the equator as this Earth grows. And it's a very strong possibility that North America and South America may not be attached for very long. And so that's this pressure in the ring of fire is really starting to feel it. And you can even see, we got an earthquake in the middle here. There's a middle, and look, we can look over here at Japan. We had a 7.1 today in Japan. It was actually increased to a 7.1. I know it says a 7 here, but I just showed you earlier in the video, which you can go back. I know this is live, but you can go back and look at that. There are, once I'm finished, it'll put it up there. There's been a 7 and a 6.1. Look at that distance. That's not that far. This is showing you that there's pressure right here. It's exactly what Keshe was talking about. We got the spewing methane. We got these huge earthquakes going on today. And this has had many, many 5s afterwards. This Japan area. Of course, Japan, our favorite spot. But look at that. We're getting a 4.9 in Vanuatu. They're coming up all the time, and the numbers are increasing. And you can see in Alaska here, little clusterfucks going on. So let's zoom in a little bit onto these areas. Let's look at North America first. Okay. As you can see, and I'm sorry that I'm having to do it this way. It's just, this is the best way I could do it. I could figure out how to do this for now in a hurry. But you can see, we're getting earthquakes. I mean, this is not just California. We're getting earthquakes in the Nevada area, Utah, Idaho, Montana, Washington, Oregon. These are all over. And of course, the ever persistent ones that have been going on right here. Again, there's pressure going. There's a pressure. This is where the extreme amount is. But as you can see, it's like bowing out. So we're going to be feeling stress all along here. There is a possibility that these Great Lakes will be part of what gives way to that pressure as this breaks off. So it's very possible that our Mississippi could be widening. And this has been predicted in the Keshe readings, Edgar Keshe. It has also been on maps that are in the underground dumb bases, the deep underground military bases. There have been military personnel who have come out and who have said that there is a map of the world that shows what it's going to look like after this water inundation. Now, a lot of people say, where's extra water going to come from as the Earth grows and all this? So why are we going to have an inundation of water? In addition to the sloshing due to the breakage from down here that could possibly happen, there is going to be motion, and that's going to push water back and forth. But I want to bring a new possibility or a new idea into your minds here, because what is very likely going to happen is that we are going to be seeing an inundation of cosmic energies. NASA did release, I believe, in about 2010, that there was some galactic bubbles coming out of the center of our galaxy. That word bubble. Bubble makes you think something stationary, right? Well, funny thing is, when energy shoots out of the center of the galaxy, it's not just still. That bubble is expanding at the speed of light, and some of the energy is expanding faster. And I know they try to say there's nothing faster than the speed of light, but I don't know. You have instantaneous thoughts. You think, you feel. That's pretty quick. I exist here in the now, instantaneously.
Okay, I'm going to pause this really quick because there was something I forgot to say in the video. And I didn't go into talking about what this galactic wave is going to do as it comes right up to Earth. So what happens is our sun has a heliosphere, and it's full of helium. hydrogen, not helium. It's full of hydrogen. It's full of a bunch of different gases, but it has a lot of hydrogen in it. And as this pulse from the center of the galaxy comes in, it's going to, not only is it going to ionize that hydrogen, but it's going to push more of that hydrogen into our ozone, into our atmosphere. And our atmosphere has obviously ionized oxygen. So we're going to have ionized hydrogen and ionized oxygen being pushed in from a galactic scalar wave. And what's going to happen is these two ionized substances, the ionized oxygen and the ionized helium, since they're highly reactive due to ionization, it means they have a positive and negative. They've had electrons either bumped off or added on. Because of that, it's going to be very reactive and it's going to want to bond. And what that's going to do is that's going to create water molecules, H2O. So we are going to have tons of cosmic cosmic ionized water. We're going to have an aqueous situation here. And that water is going to be in our atmosphere and it's going to want to come down. Now, halfpasthuman.com, which has the internet language predictive future forecasts, they have been saying that these are going to be called atmospheric rivers when it happens. Now, they don't exactly know how these atmospheric rivers are going to come onto the Earth, but if you use a little bit of noodling and you combine, that's your brain noodling, you combine the sciences and what's going on, you pay attention, then it's pretty obvious that this galactic wave, which is going to it's going to pulse out scalar waves from its center, from its 0 point, which bend the electromagnetic field, that it's very obvious that this is going to push ionized particles into our atmosphere. First, it's going to push them into the heliosphere from the cosmos, and then, or from the galaxy, which is coming from the cosmos, and then it's going to push the the stuff that it pushed into the heliosphere into our magnetosphere on the Earth. And that also, these fibers are going to, the fibers that I talk about later, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about in a few minutes. Those fibers from the center of the galaxy and from the suns will be pushed in as well and do their job. But yeah, so that's where this inundation of water comes from. It's coming from the hydrogen, the cosmic hydrogen that comes from the sun, which will be ionized, and the oxygen within our atmosphere, which will also be ionizing combined. Now back to the video.
And I don't need light to do that. So that's kind of, I think they're complete bullshit on that. And so with this pulsing
the bullshit is about the complete bullshit about not having energy moving faster than the speed of light. So anyway, this pulse
bubble, as NASA puts it, you can go and look. It's the Fermi telescope, FERMI telescope, and it was, I believe, 2010. And they drew a picture with like a purple bubble, like a dumbbell, coming one out of the top and one out of the bottom of the spiraling galaxy, with like purples and blues, saying that there's violet and gamma rays. Yes, violet and gamma rays are coming out, and that bubble is expanding. So as that bubble pushes its way, it's scalar waves. As it pushes its way this way, it's going to bend time and space, bend the electromagnetic field. That's what scalar waves do. And we're also going to see an inundation of cosmic dust when this happens. You've kind of already seen it. If you go get a straw and you put it outside, like on top of a cup like this, you'll start to see accumulation of dust. Now, some of this is from DARPA, which is a military, it's a advanced defense research program. They have been creating their own little bits of UV dust by combining, and you can research this, is very real, by combining goat DNA with spider DNA, so that the goat milk will have proteins in it that they can then synthesize these nanofiber tubes, UV fiber tubes. They are tubes, they have a hole in them, which they then can insert things such as bacterias, virus, sickly cells, blood cells, and all this stuff has been found in it. And you can look online and find your research. But this is, again, the government copying nature. This is them copying the UV fibers that come out of the suns and the centers of the galaxy, and I'll explain why that happens in just a bit. But what they are doing is they're putting these bacterias inside of these UV tubes, and they are allowing the sunlight to then go through the UV tube to activate what is inside, but whether it be bacteria, viruses, or sickly blood cells, which has also been found, molds, things like that. And what happens then is that specimen inside will begin pulsing a radio frequency of its aura, its data, and you can then pick that up and start taking on the symptoms of that without actually ever having to ingest the virus or whatnot, because it's radio frequency. Everything actually is frequency, and they're starting to figure out how to manipulate that. Now, why would the center of the galaxy pulse out these fibers? Well, that's simple. Our suns go through stages of increasing energy. And when that happens, the life forms that are on the planet spiraling these suns and the galaxies have to adapt. Now, we all have a nervous system, a central nervous system, but our central nervous system is attuned for a certain Schumann resonance. That's around 7 point something. And that's been increasing, and scientists are saying it's very well likely that it's going to be going up to 13 megahertz. And that's a lot, that's a big increase. And this pulse from the center of the galaxy, okay, sorry about that, I had a phone call coming in. So this pulse from the center of the galaxy, it's kind of like an EMP, and it has the potential to completely disrupt your nervous system. So what these tiny UV fibers are doing is they're acting like fiber optic cables. If you do a little research, you'll find out that a large solar flare or a galactic pulse would shut down all of our telecommunications except for fiber optics. And there's a reason. That's because fiber optics can handle the high speed energy. So if your body is incorporating these tiny little fibers, and like I said, they are UV active, and they help your body to transmit, or whatever, and then they help it to transmit radio frequency. And radio frequency has the data in it, which can enable spontaneous growth and life. That's something that they're not telling people. It has to do with the spiral that's built into everything. This is why Louis Pasteur was full of shit when he pasteurized milk and everything. Because actually when you heat up something to that degree, what it actually does is creates a perfect medium for spontaneous life to start forming. And that has to do, again, with the energetic structure that is built into everything. Vibrations, sound, all that. Cymatics. Do some research on that and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So these fibers are going to incorporate into our being and help us to take on this increased energy that's going to becoming as our sun moves on to its next state. I'm not quite sure if it's going from yellow to white or white to blue. It's really hard to tell depending on where we are in the process, because our sun is it's pretty white right now. So it could be that it's in the final stages of becoming hyper white, or it could be on the beginning stages of becoming blue. It's really hard for me personally to tell based on the research that I've done. So here we have the planet expanding because of this incoming energy. Now, we should be able to deduce that the energy is already beginning to affect us because of these earthquakes. The earth is growing already. And I don't know if you've noticed, but people are under pressure. And there's something about the physics of consciousness, or energy, both. And that is that pressure is what enables growth. Some people call it the chaos theory. I kind of like to call it the orgasm theory, and it's not really a theory. It's proven. With pressure and friction comes a new release. And it's the same when giving birth. And when you're giving birth, you have contractions. Pressure, that's pushing down on your uterus, pushing the baby out, and then you have the release. This is natural. This is happening at the center of the galaxy, and it is putting pressure on everyone consciously through their hearts. All of this, we're being called to either, damn everything or unify everything. What are you going to choose in this? Are we going to use this pressure as an excuse to allow ourselves to go to the party limp? Are we going to use this pressure as the exact perfect fuel to get that cosmic orgasm that we've all been waiting for? I picked the cosmic orgasm. So this is not about fear. This is about doing what is necessary in order for us to make this shift and not be in fear and not have panic and all this bullshit. So let's get back to these earthquakes. And we got the fibers coming in that are increasing us. We got these earthquakes amping up. And a lot of people are getting fear of the earth changes, earth changes, earth changes. What we don't realize is that it's not just earth changes. You are changing at the subatomic level. And as you do that, you're going to be vibrating faster. As you're vibrating faster, you are going to be moving into a more energetic space. You're going to be able to see the photons that create reality instead of seeing everything as this false 3D, because it's really not 3D. It is energetic points of light that are existing everywhere. There's no surface to it, so it's not really 2D and it's not really 1D. It's like a virtual screen that you can't find the surface of. You're kind of in it. As you move your hand forward, the image of the photonic dots is making your hand look smaller. And when you want to talk about shadow and distance and things like that, obviously distance is making things smaller. But shadow...
I'm not sure if I completed this thought in here, but shadow has to do with the indigo colored photons. I don't know if you guys have ever done any tests. I was in advanced chemistry, and one of the things we did was we got an ionic salt, and we were able to drop it on a heating pad. And what that did was it caused the salt to release the photonic packets of light, and they came out as magenta, like a neon green, a neon orange, kind of this like sky blue, and an indigo color. And when you are in a shaded area or shadows or distance, when things are far away, it's going to have a higher count of indigo photons in it so that it looks like it's a shadow or darker. Same with the darkness. There's no such thing as darkness. Even in the darkness, there's rainbow light. So let's continue.
If you've ever, I've been seeing them since I was a kid. I've been able to see the photons. But if you have ever experimented with entheogens, plant hallucinogens, which are from nature and they are natural and they are legal in many countries, and they have helped people to cure themselves of addictions. And I encourage you to look up the movie Neurons to Nirvana, the documentary actually, Neurons to Nirvana on Netflix. But those who have experimented with this or who've maybe seen them since they were born, they see these little photonic dots as everything. They're all over the place. And these photonic dots have a flow. They have an energy to them, and you're made of them. And the more you move into higher energy, the more you're going to see them all the time. This is like moving from the perspective of seeing 3D to the perspective of seeing 4D. Everything as one hologram. That's what it is. And we're going to be moving even beyond that. So if you're getting afraid of, the earth changes, dying or something like that happening, just remember, you're moving into a light energy as well, and you're going to be more interactive with that light. You're going to be able to use emotion. Let's look at that word, emotion. If we take that word and write an E with a dash and then motion, what are we writing? Electrons in motion. Emotion is the way that we move this energy. Feelings of joy and peace and happiness are going to give you more scalar wave power, scalar waves pulsing from your 0 point heart. The 0 point is the stillness. In order to get there, you must silence your mind by paying attention to your breath and not getting frustrated with yourself, so that your heart can purely and fully absorb the cosmic energy as one whole, without your brain pinging back and forth, taking that energy and distorting it. This is pretty vital. And even when I don't keep up with it, I notice that these energies piss me the fuck off. They make me more angry. A messy house or somebody who doesn't live, things like that, financial issues. So this meditation is really important. And I do have videos on my YouTube, Christy9, which go into detail about that type of meditation. But again, this is the most important thing, is that you have the power to influence what's going on. And I don't meditate to stop things, because honestly, the universe is choosing for this to happen for a reason.
people are right to wake up, and sometimes they need a little jolt to wake up, but it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be as like, you know, gyrating as we've been told in the Bible and stuff like that. The more we spread the word, the more we spread this peace and love and the flower of life energy, the less it has to be that gyrating. Okay, I'm hearing that the audio is failing. Is it feeling really bad? This is a brand new Samsung Note 5 phone, so it shouldn't be. I'm not sure why it would be failing. If anybody can let me know if it gets better. I'm just going to keep going. I'm not sure if it's one person or many or what's going on. I'm almost done anyway. I mean, pretty much. Oh, I see. My battery's getting low. Okay, so pretty much that was it. I just wanted to let you guys know that we're having some intense earthquakes. This doesn't happen every day. We don't have these 6 and 7s, you know, like in a line, one side of the earth, the other. This is intense. Something's going on. We have also been having some geomagnetic stuff going on, and I'm sure y'all been feeling it here and here. So keep your ear to the ground. Really pay attention. Know where you can get fresh water. I know where I can get running spring water from a mountain. Do you know where you can get running spring water? Do you know where you can get greens that are already growing in nature? I know a lot of people are like, you know, growing a farm and things like that. Not everybody lives in an area where they have enough time to cultivate a farm right now. That takes you know, some time, sometimes years, especially if you live on rocky soil like I do. But do know where you can get greens in nature, because you'd be surprised how many of these weeds, things that people think are weeds, are actually very delicious. Poke is an amazing one. Poke you can juice and it's not even bitter. So, you know, be aware and be a helping hand. This is not about, you know, hoarding your stuff to yourself. This is about all is one. As you give, you receive. As you give, Mother Earth's going to give to you. So pay attention. Get yourself a live updating earthquake application so that you can just kind of pay attention and feel it out. All right, I love you guys. Namaste. God bless.